right? All right. Now, the crowd was so huge, and they did such a good job of selling tickets that one Chris Jericho took notice, and he had some very interesting comments on his podcast. Let's go to Talk is Jericho with the Dudley Boys and the Hardys.
Too, that fucking crowd looked huge.
Huge.
It looked huge. It was like a WWE level crowd. The place was packed. I was watching this and, not saying anything out of school here, but comparing it to watching Dynamite when they were at the ECW arena, which looked like a Tony Condello taping. Sorry, it did. TNA looked like the second biggest company in the world.
Ew.
And that was amazing. And that.
Wow. So he said that TNA looks like the second biggest company in the entire world. Bigger than AEW, bigger than New Japan, bigger than CMLL, bigger than AAA. He opened it up to the entire world, the globe, and said that it looked like it was the biggest company in the world. And that AEW Dynamite from the ECW arena looked like a Tony Condello taping. Now, Tony Condello is a dirty Canadian promoter that promoted some pretty rough shows back in the day that Chris Jericho used to work. So that's pretty insulting to AEW, but he is right. Those tapings did look pretty bad. So if you were to compare the two, yeah, you would think like if you were just a novice, you didn't know, and you watched like on the same day, you watched Bound for Glory and you watched Dynamite from the 2300 arena, or a lot of Dynamites lately that have been in really small venues. You would think that that's the case, but it's not, right? So I don't think we have to go into that, but I think the more interesting thing is Tony or Chris Jericho taking a shot at AEW and kind of promoting TNA above AEW when he still technically works there. So I found that to be interesting. And Dave Meltzer went on his podcast and said that he thinks that was Chris Jericho possibly giving his notice to AEW. I think that horse left the barn months ago. AEW was done with him and he was done with AEW. And he is definitely going back to WWE at this point. If we didn't already know, now we know. Like he is going back. Now I do want to address the elephant in the room. People for years have believed that Chris Jericho at one point was going to sign with TNA. But then AEW was created, and then he went to AEW. He was never coming to fucking Impact Wrestling. He was never going to go wrestle in a bar with Scott D'Amore and Don Callis booking and working in a bar in front of 150 people in the dark. Like he was not ever going to do that. I do think Anthem probably I'm sure Anthem wanted him to, and they were probably willing to give him a lot of money to come because they do have some money. They don't spend it on TNA, but I think that for Chris Jericho, they probably would have because they would have saw him as a big enough star. But I get the feeling that he just used them to get a better deal out of Tony Khan, right? He's like, I can work Impact and I can work New Japan and I can make X amount of money. But if you want me full time being a homer for your company, this is what it's going to cost you. And that's probably what happened there, which is smart by him. Like you got to play the billionaires against each other. That makes sense. Like that's genius. And he made a lot of money for AEW and he made a lot of money in AEW. I don't think that we have the AEW that we have today without Chris Jericho. We don't. He was very much a catalyst of its early popularity. When he came over, then Moxley too, they legitimized it because the only other guys they had access to were fucking indie guys, right? So like those two guys, they were big stars and they came over. Omega was a big star, but he's a big star overseas. He hadn't been proven in the States just yet. But but the Young Bucks were proven in the States, but like Ring of Honor by that point, they were doing, like for WrestleMania weekend, they could do like 5,000, but they weren't doing that on a regular basis. So like they were big stars, but they weren't big television stars. Moxley and Jericho were TV stars. And so they were very important to the early AEW and their early success. So, yeah, so I did think that was interesting. He's not coming to TNA. He's a WWE guy. But some TNA fans thought that maybe this meant that he was coming to TNA. He's not. No. Especially not after what he fucking saw tonight. Mike Santana losing to a roll up in front of 150 people. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get to this. CMLL has no reason to inflate their attendance because the data is right there. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is look at it and show that they're fucking doing crazy. Everyone inflates their numbers. Japanese promotions inflate attendance. AAA always inflates their numbers. Yeah. So I know for a fact New Japan inflated their attendance back in the day because I went to a show in the Tokyo Dome when I lived there, and it was Brock Lesnar in the main event against Nakamura and Masahiro Chono. Sorry, lost my train of thought in the main event, and they said that it was like sold out and they had no seats available. But I was sitting up pretty high. There's a lot of people there, but like there's plenty of seats. So yeah, like everybody does that. So no big deal. I said, well, let's hear him out on the old. Well, hold on, motherfucker. I'm only 42. I'm not that bad. I dress nice for work every day though. Let's see. Morales says, I think Santana wins the title back on TNA's first show on the new network, on the new TV network. That's if they have a new TV deal. I look, I've been pretty confident, but the longer it takes, the less confident I am. I mean, I guess it's possible that they have a new TV deal. But I am not so sure. I don't know. Sinclair Ring of Honor largest show is at MSG and did not involve any of its major stars. Yes, New Japan was there also, but this is a Ring of Honor show. It was a Ring of Honor show. It was also a WrestleMania weekend show. WrestleMania was at MetLife Stadium, I believe. And but the people that sold that show were the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega. Like they sold that show, but by the time the tickets were sold, those guys were in AEW and they were gone. So Coach Rosie said, I did not like that Santana title change, but I have faith in TNA. Brother, you are on a hill tonight. We are not saying nice things about TNA tonight. Maybe next week. Maybe I'll get off my high horse next week. I usually do. I usually go back, but it's like an abusive relationship. A couple other notes. Joe Hendry fucking gone. We saw that one coming. He's gone. So I don't think we need to say anything more. Like we've been talking about it for months, but like we all knew he was leaving. Like they're not just gonna give him a WrestleMania moment and like bring him in. And he's been actively working exclusively for NXT since the summer. He wasn't booked at Bound for Glory, and Sean Ross Sapp tonight put out a report that Joe Hendry is done. So I'm gonna say this, but I'm not gonna say the names. But I tweet a couple days ago, actually would have been Tuesday. Joe Hendry was doing his angle on NXT. I don't watch NXT, but I'm sure it was good. Whatever. And they're doing an angle with him and Tila Hale, what the fuck Hale blonde lady's name is, right? And I said TNA promoted that. Said, yo, look, TNA's Joe Hendry is doing this, and I quote tweeted, it's like, hey, guys, Joe Hendry doesn't work there anymore. Like, you don't have to do this. It's like he works for WWE, he doesn't work for you anymore. You don't have to do this. And like a couple of the TNA wrestlers liked the tweet. and then a couple of them like some of my mean tweets about TNA tonight. So so there you go. Just so we're all on the same page. So let's see. He's wrestling for the AAA mixed tag belt soon, allegedly. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like something he would do. But I did have some more stuff I wanted to talk about, but I think I'm gonna have to save it. It's already past 11. It's already past 11. Let me see if I got any other news to talk about. If any news broke since we have been talking here. Let's see. Yeah, no, nothing else to talk about. So I'm gonna watch Turning Point because I still have a TNA podcast and I have a Patreon. So go to patreon.com/the Mike and JD Show. The card actually looks pretty good. That's what I was gonna run down the card. I can't get to it tonight. It's already getting kind of late. So forgive me for that. We went a little bit long with the shitting on Santana, or not Santana. We love Santana, but shitting on the booking. So but we went a little bit long for that. I'm not going to be able to get to it. Plus, I had to restart my computer before I could do the show. Shit was whacked. But go to patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. I'm going to be covering Turning Point this weekend. I told everybody I would. So I did a live stream yesterday on Patreon exclusively. We talked about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about tonight. I'll get to that this weekend, and then Mike and JD show should be back by Sunday. We'll be doing Mike and JD show on Sunday night, and that's free for everybody, so come check us out. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. You guys kept it lively. I appreciate you. And until next time, mahalo.